Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Encik Zulkifli. Now I will introduce my team members on the topic of incident based on OSHE. The topic of incident that we choose is worker killed in a gas tank explosion. So to start, I will introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Ozi bin Asri, and next is my fellow friend. Firstly, start with Aidit.
My name is Muhammad Aidit.
Next is Shami.
My name is Muhammad Nur Shahmi.
Next Rizwan.
I am Muhammad Rizam bin Abdul Rauf.
Next Razi.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Hanan Razi bin Azman.
Lastly is Haziq.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Haziq bin Khairil Azri.
Alright, so we will start our presentation with chronology of the incident by ID.
Okay, thank you, Jose. So to start this presentation, I'm gonna talking about the chronology of this incident, especially the worker kills by petrol tank explosion. So this incident happened on 12th of May 2020. Okay, the first report that Perak Fire and Rescue Department received is at 1 a.m. in the night. A report about an incident involving a guy in his 20s while working alone. So after get the report and receive the report, the teams, the health ministry authorities immediately come to the incident place at 12:10 at the night. Sorry, in the morning, the fire engine and crew arrive, and they discover an explosion that occurred while moving gas from large tank to smaller tanks at the workshop. And the victim was confirmed dead by the health ministry and authorities. And also the chronology, the incident and the agenda behind this will explain by my fellow friends.
Okay, so now I'm gonna be explaining what is the effect happen referring to OSHE and Environment Act. So this is so the guideline of Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. The OSHA was established to ensure the safety, health, and welfare of all employees in all workplaces. It was established on the basis of self-regulation, with people who produce and deal with hazards bearing the major responsibility for guaranteeing workplace safety and health. So, what happened to the worker? While undertaking a pipe cutting operation, the foreign worker perished as a consequence of a fuel tank explosion. After the explosion, the victim has an 80% second degree burn. So in the guideline, they also introduced a regulation named Reporting of Injuries, Diseases and Dangerous Occurrences Regulation 1995. So this regulation is also known as REDOR. REDOR places a duty on employers, the self-employed and the responsible person to report serious workplace accidents, occupational disease and specific dangerous occurrences. So, so it is stated in the REDO that it is a legal requirement to immediately report a death, major injury, dangerous occurrence, member of the public taken to hospital as a result of a workplace injury. In this case, the worker was the worker was in the explosion, so they it takes the fire and rescue team 10 minutes to arrive in that situation.
Okay, now we get into the detailed story of what really happened and the ethical issue or law. Next. So this incident happened at works in Ipoh, Perak, Malaysia. So what happened is referring from the police investigation is that the worker that working early in the morning got into an accident from the explosion crate from a tank on the morning of Hari Raya on 2020. The incident took place around 12:01 in the morning, and when the rescue team arrived, they confirmed that the victim that died due to the explosion is a foreign worker. And it's also told that the foreign is at his 20s. So before the explosion occurred, they believe that they believe that the victim is transferring oil from tank A to tank B using a suction pipe and is working alone. But unfortunately, the victim didn't realize that the suction pipe used for the inserting to the foot valve have a cutting effect and cause the explosion to happen. Even when there is no one else near the victim, when the explosion happened, there is still other victim also involved from the explosion but just suffer injuries. So next.
Alright, so for what is the ethical issue and laws related to the incident? Alright, so the operation end by 1:34 a.m. Fire and Rescue Ipoh were to monitor the scene so that no hazardous substance in the area. Alright, as Datuk Seri Abdul Muttalib Deputy Minister of Human Resource 2015, foreign worker who died while working are eligible to receive compensation of 80,000 ringgit. According to Worker Compensation Order 2005, the decades depends entitled to an additional consideration of 7,000 ringgit Malaysia. Alright, next.
So next is the ethical problem solving techniques. Next. So basically there's a four ethics in this ethical problem solving technique. The first one is the utilitarianism, duty ethics, right ethics, and virtue ethics. So the first one is a utilitarianism. It's basically focus of is on what will benefit the majority of people, while some people may be affected. So in this case, we know that working at late hours could increase the productivity in the company, and also working alone also could help the company financially, but it could cause a huge accident, such as in this incident. The worker own carelessness led to the explosion and his own death. The next one is the duty ethics. So duty ethics states that the people have responsibilities, one of which is to preserve others' right. So based on this case, we know that working with a chemical substance is highly dangerous. The victim should have took a proper precautions, such as taking a proper rest before conducting their work. This could lead them to lose focus or divert their attention away from the safety procedures. The victim also should bring more eyes with him to avoid the accident to occur, because uh, the worker work late at night at 12 a.m. So it's easier to lose focus when you work at midnight. Next. So the next one is right ethics. So yeah. So right ethics, according to right ethics, people have fundamentals right that others must protect. The company should ensure that the victim have a proper rest if his shift is at midnight, because without rest, it might cause carelessness and could divert the attention away from safety procedures. That could cause the explosion. They also need to add a few more eyes on the scene instead of working alone. The next one is virtue ethics. So the goal of virtue ethics is to figure out what kind of people we should be. Moral differentiation and goodness are frequently used to describe virtue. Based on this scenario, the company should be the one that had accountability for the damage to occur. They should compensate the victim's family for their loss because of the working hours that may cause the accident to occur, and should have a few more people working transferring the gas instead of one person. Next. So the next is hierarchy. So hierarchy is a guideline that is to propose a systematic and objective way to identifying hazards and their related risks, as well as a system for managing the risk. So hierarchy consists of three parts. The first one is hazard identification, risk assessment, and control. So for hazard identification, there are four hazards that we can identify. The first one is working at late hours. The second one is the worker also working alone at a dangerous field at midnight. The third one is there are some leftover petrol when transferring the gas from tank A and tank B. And the fourth one, which caused the explosion, that is the cutting effect on the suction pipe. So the risk assessment, uh, we know that the explosion, the suction pipe happens could cause an explosion at any time or any place, especially at the working place. It could kill the worker, or civilians present at the moment. The gas from explosion could affect the surrounding environment and could lead to pollution. The next one is control. So control, how can we control the situation? The first one is maybe by having more people working at the workplace instead of just one person. And also the company should schedule the work at suitable hours to avoid tiredness and carelessness from the workers. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, now I'm going to explain the solutions through sustainable development in this section. Next. So there are three solutions that we have found out. The first solution is build a new technology for explosion suppression material. The second one is coating and double wall conversion of petrol and chemical tanks. And the third one is excluding the elements of fire. So for the first one, I'm going to explain the new technology for explosion suppression material. The novel explosion suppression material under investigation, especially the non-metallic explosion suppression material, should have the following characteristics, which is excellent chemical resistance to prolonged fuel or chemical immersion. Low gasoline displacement and retention percentage will not impact the oil tank's original performance. High mechanical strength and tenacity to avoid material deformation, collapse, and damage. In addition, it must possess features like resistance to high temperatures, hydrolysis, fire, and electrostatic conductivity, among others, to prevent future explosions and future dangers. Next. So for the second one, we can equip the tanks with a permanent leak detection system with double barrier to prevent leaking. After cleaning and degassing of the tank, this is internally inspected. If serious contamination due to corrosion of the inner or outer wall is ascertained, a protective glass fiber reinforced lining can be applied as a mechanical reinforcement. So basically, the main point of this second solution is just to prevent future leakings from happening. Right, next, on to the last one. Excluding the elements of fire. A common means to control the risk of a fire in a tank is to remove as much air as possible by flushing the air out of the tank with an inert gas, such as nitrogen or carbon dioxide. During tank unloading, care is taken that fuel is replaced with inert gas rather than air. This removes the oxygen and prevents fire from starting. So that is all for our presentation today. Thank you and see you again.